Hello fellow mutants, welcome back to another video, and I figured now would be the now I would make the I'm starting this video off bad, sorry. I figured I would start off the series that I was talking about in terms of me explaining some of my TikTok OCs or TikTok characters that I represent. And the first one, since I'm a Star Wars fan, has to be my favorite Star Wars slash my favorite Star Wars OC and my favorite OC in general. Now, if you guys don't know what OC means, OC means it's just an abbreviated form of original character. And little backstory on how I created Nemo Calrissian. As you guys know, I'm a TikToker. I'm looking at my phone to see how many followers I have currently. I currently have 3,969 followers on TikTok, and I downloaded TikTok last year in January, I believe. And over the course of the past year, I've met some wonderful people, and of course, as uh, as to be expected, some bad apples. But 90% of the people or 99 I should say, 99% of the people that I've met on TikTok has been genuinely nice people, respectable people. And so there's this one guy named Lightspeed Antilles. He saw one of my videos, and it's just me in one of my hoodies. I wasn't even cosplaying in this video, and it was just me in one of my hoodies. And they take like clips or sounds, parts of like clips of music, TV show, movie, games, and the longest you can go for the little clips to upload a video is a minute long on TikTok. And they call those sounds. So I was doing a sound to part of the Rise of Skywalker sound trailer, and that was when C-3PO was saying, Poe was saying to C-3PO, "What are you doing, 3PO? Taking one last look, sir, at my friends." And I decided to do the C-3PO part because at the time I thought, based on how the trailer looks, C-3PO was going to die. Like, that was going to be C-3PO's last adventure in the entire Star Wars saga. And so this guy named Lightspeed Antilles, which his Star Wars character name is Garrett, so I'm going to call him Garrett from now on. Garrett, he saw that, he decided to duet me. He said, "Hey, you want to join this tag called the Resistance AU?" And I figured it was sequel trilogy based because there's only one trilogy that has the Resistance in it, and that's the sequel trilogy. So I say, yeah, I'll be open to joining a Star Wars server, checking you guys out, getting a feel of what you guys are about. And he was telling me in the Star Wars server, the Resistance AU, they're pretty much taking the sequel trilogy and making it better, more consistent, more fluid. Now, I'm not a fan of the sequel trilogy, but I like the idea. He was saying that he was in his version, so this is kind of diving into the whole Elseworld thing. Elseworld being like multiple versions, like different dimensional stories, pretty much. Like in the Disney version, we saw like that's one version of us, like of the Elseworld I'm talking about. Legends is another version, like another story arc. Like what if Luke Skywalker didn't abandon the galaxy? So this takes only certain elements of the Disney canon Star Wars currently and changes some to hopefully make our version of the sequel trilogy better. So it's kind of like a fan thing. So I already knew that. I already knew it was set, and it was like a few years before the events of the original trilogy. I mean, of the sequels. I mean, so it was a few years before The Force Awakens. I think it was like 2-3 years before. And so I said, "Great! I have a Jedi costume. If I can find it." This is like the top part to it. And then this is the belt. And so I said, great, I already can cosplay as a Jedi, and this is the Jedi robe. I can already cosplay as a Jedi. And they were saying that in this version, the Jedi's powers are kind of dampened a bit. I mean, at this stage in this group's canon story. Keep in mind, the Resistance AU is a fan group of the sequel, like, of Star Wars, and it's their own version, their own twist of what the sequel trilogy could have been, using a few elements of the current sequel trilogy. I'm saying current because I've heard reports we might get a Big Bang type feel with the sequel trilogy and making it an Elseworld type deal in the whole Star Wars universe, which is why I made the reference, which is why I'm saying Elseworld. Anyways, so I said, okay, I already got my character. Well, I want my character to be a Jedi. Now all I need to come up with a name. And I was thinking, again, this was before Rise of Skywalker came out, like in theaters, and I think this was in like November, and Rise of Skywalker came out the following month. So, and I already knew from the trailers that Lando was going to be in there. So I said, great, I'm going to be Lando Calrissian's son, who is force sensitive. Because, who knows? We don't know if Lando got lucky with a woman and so happened got her pregnant. In some cases, who knows? Maybe, like, in some versions, if Disney decides to go this route, maybe he made a girl pregnant shortly after the war against the Empire was won and didn't even know he had a child. Or maybe he did know that he had a child. Who knows? But in this version, he had a child, which later on I decided to make Nemo have a twin named Riku, but I'll have that story arc more explained into like another video potentially. So I was saying, okay, great, I already got the son. Like, his last name is gonna be Calrissian, but I don't want him to just be called, "Hey Calrissian, how are you doing?" "Oh, I'm good. How about you, Gary or Kenzie?" Because there's a character in the group called Kenzie or Alex or whatever. So I didn't think of a name. Couldn't think of a name. I sat there for 5 minutes, about give or take. Couldn't think of a name. I saw my cat, and I said, and my cat's name is Nemo. My sister, who is 8 years older than me, named my cat Nemo from Finding Nemo, which was her favorite Pixar movie at the time, which I'm pretty sure it still is to this day. And so I said, you know what? And Nemo's my cat, and you guys seen Nemo a few times on this channel. So I said, you know what? That's what I'm going to name my character, Nemo Calrissian. So I already got this name, and now I need a cool backstory. And here's the thing. Here's his backstory. He knew his father, Lando, pretty decent. He might not have the best father and son relationship with Lando as he probably wants, but he still appreciates his father to a certain extent. He might not show it all the time to Lando, like all kids don't show their appreciation to their parents all the time, but regardless of what happens at the end of the day, Nemo is very appreciative of his father, Lando. So in this story, Lando wasn't really much in Nemo's life, and Nemo kind of resented that a bit. But Lando felt, because he saw signs of Nemo being strong in the Force, that he should be trained with Luke. And so Lando sent Nemo to train with Luke in order to learn the ways of the Force, so Nemo can hopefully help other people with his abilities. That was Lando's perspective. So his son, later two sons, helping people with their gifts. Because don't get me wrong, though, being Force sensitive and being able to use the Force is a gift, especially if you know how to use it. So Nemo trains for a bit. His lightsaber for a while was this. Now, granted that this is Mickey Mouse's lightsaber, technically, because I got this as Disney in 2012 as Star Wars Weekend was still going on, and this is Mickey Mouse's lightsaber. You can tell by this, and if you look closer, that too. And so yeah, for a while for Nemo's story, because we don't really see Mickey Mouse as a Jedi, and Disney's been Star Wars been under Disney for 5 years now currently. So I figured, since Mickey's not really canon in the Star Wars universe, I'm going to use this as his lightsaber. But in this version, Maz Kanata found this lightsaber, gave it to Luke, so he can keep it safe, and he eventually gave it to Nemo, until Nemo built his own lightsaber. And in my version of the story, Nemo built this lightsaber, and his symbol, the creatures that he was his favorite were mice. And so once he built his lightsaber, he gave his father, Nemo gave Anakin's saber back to Luke. But then that's when, I think it was months after, and Nemo was a fast learner. He went through the ranks so pretty quickly, so he was a Jedi Knight by the time Luke's order disappeared, until the Knights of Ren came and Ben Solo betrayed the Jedi. And so, and in this version, in my head, the reason why Kylo Kylo Ren turns to the dark side is because Luke's has sensed a darkness inside around like when he checked up on Ben, he ignited his lightsaber. But in my version, the darkness that Luke felt was his own, not Ben's, but his own. And Luke was confusing it as Ben Solo's. Ben Solo thinking that his own uncle was going to kill him. That's why Ben Solo turned to the dark side. So in my version, I kind of took what Rian Johnson said. Luke was going to kill Kylo Ren or Ben Solo at the time, and kind of changed things a bit to hopefully make it better. Hopefully that explanation was better than the movie version for you, some of you guys, because I know some of you guys will say, I like the movie version better, and that's fine. So continuing. So in the records, like, Luke sent Nemo on a mission. When Nemo came back, he's seen like the whole Jedi temple burning, and that's when he finds Luke's saber. Now for a while I used this, but as you can see the blade is kind of wobbly, but it still works. But I just don't really use this anymore because the blade is wobbly, and I also got this at Disney. It's just I don't want to break it, especially since this is my favorite lightsaber. And so for a while Nemo was using both these lightsabers. In a battle, Nemo lost his Nemo, feeling angry, fought against Kylo Ren. He lost this lightsaber, so for a while he had to use Luke's lightsaber until he had time to build his lightsaber. But in the meantime, he was looking for an old friend of his, Gwyn Solo, and in this timeline, Han and Leia didn't only have a son who turned the dark side, but they had a daughter who was fighting along the resistance. And for a good while, Nemo was looking for Gwyn Solo, who was his childhood best friend, because he wanted to make sure that she's safe. So Nemo, to speed things up a bit, has found Garrett Antilles, or more like bumped into Garrett Antilles. Garrett Antilles being part of the Resistance. Nemo saves Garrett, and then he just leaves. And then the Force brought them together again, and Garrett says, hey, you should join the Resistance. Some people, they could use skills like yours. And Nemo agrees, as long as Garrett helps Nemo find that one person that Nemo doesn't say to Garrett out that he's been looking for. Garrett agrees. Turns out Garrett didn't know that one of his resistant fighters, or aces as they called it, a section called aces, was Nemo's childhood best friend that he was looking for. And so for a while Nemo was fighting alongside them. And Nemo believed that Luke Skywalker was dead, because all he found at the site of the Jedi Temple was Luke's saber. So, long story short, which is another OC of mine, there's this Sith Lord called Darth Azrael, or at least this wannabe Sith Lord, this person that is trying to bring back the Sith Order. who has personal ties with Nemo, which I shall explain later, at least in this version. And so Nemo fights Darth Azrael, gets his hand cut off, and Luke's lightsaber gets cut in half. And for a while, I can't find the glove, but for a while Nemo had to wear like the glove that you see Anakin Skywalker wear in like the Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith. And so Nemo later constructed his own saber, or I should say sabers, because these two can go into here. Can merge as one to become a lightsaber, but form these two as well. And so Nemo helps the Resistance for like a year and a half before leaving the Aces, which I left that Resistance AU group for personal reasons. So I was kind of left with having Nemo leaving that group too. And in this story arc, I had Nemo, when he left the Aces, he had sensed something that Nemo needed to go do, but he couldn't do it as an ace. So he had to leave the Aces to protect them. Which the thing was to battle Darth Azrael for one last time, and essentially he succeeded. Then Nemo gets put into this different war. That I will explain in the future video, which this is a hint at what I'm referring to. And Nemo figures, okay, he should train a new generation of Jedi. So currently Nemo's still trying to look for Force sensitive in his current story while fighting in the war that he's fighting currently. And in doing so, he also makes another lightsaber. So he has these two lightsabers that can combine as one. Well, I shouldn't say he makes this, because Darth Azrael, before he was Darth, he was on the light side. And I have it where this was Darth Azrael's lightsaber back when he was good. That in the story, I have it where after Nemo had to end Darth Azrael, he goes to Darth Azrael's base and he finds his lightsaber when Darth Azrael was a Jedi. So he grabs Darth Azrael's lightsaber. And so now this lightsaber, current time in the story, because the story is still going on, is Nemo, Calrissian's. So Nemo essentially has 3 sabers. Or 2 if you want to combine these two. Or 4, because little compartment. And there's a glove. It's this glove that he has to wear for a while, but then he gets a new robotic hand that doesn't look so mechanic, that looks real, that he gets during his Aces time. And the thing is, I have to wear both, well, Nemo is open to rejoining the Aces, I'm open to rejoining that Star Wars group, but so like there's only like one thing that I like would have to like tell them, okay, I agree with any of your demands per se, but if you guys want me back, there's only one thing that I request you guys doing. Otherwise, I'm not joining back. Which, if you guys want me to make a video of why I left the Resistance AU, which that was the group, I will do that. I will make a video. And I recently had it where in a video on TikTok where I had in as Nemo saying that in his Aces time he heard of the legends of the Keyblade and was fascinated with the Keyblade, and by the Force as well he was dragged into a war that has to do with this. So yeah. But this is kind of a video for another time in terms of my OCs. So I might do another video explaining you guys another backstory I have for Nemo, like, because there are multiple versions of Nemo that I wrote. This that I have told you is the one that I go with the most, and it seems like a lot of people on TikTok loves that more, like the most, my Nemo Calrissian cosplay, especially since I wrote Nemo Calrissian to practically be in each trilogy, but not exactly as the same character. Like this version of Nemo, he is Lando's son, and like his father, he's kind of flirty but smooth, and ultimately loyal to his friends. And even though it had pained Nemo to leave the Aces, Nemo will, if the Aces needs his help, Nemo will go to them in a heartbeat, because he still loves them. And yeah, it was forbidden for the Jedi to have romantic attachments, but even in this book, Luke said that having attachments had helped him, and he don't know where he would be if it was for Han or Leia. And he mentions another person, but that one person, Disney kind of said that it wasn't canon, sadly. But seeing how this is kind of counted as canon, maybe that character is canon. I'm not going to spoil it. You guys should get this book, The Jedi Path, to see that character I'm referring to. But so yeah, that's the sequel trilogy version of Luke. Not Luke, of Nemo that I go most with. And I do have other OCs like Darth Asriel, Riku Calrissian, Leo, my Kingdom Hearts OC, Scattered Knight, Ezra Bunk, Morgan Purser, and I do have Phil Coulson. And the reason why I'm kind of counting in Phil Coulson as an OC is because I took aspects of the Phil Coulson that we got in the MCU, but switched some things around to make him my own. And yeah, I know that I'm not the same color as the Phil Coulson as we saw in the MCU, but who cares? Who cares? It's not supposed to be the MCU version of Phil Coulson. It's my version of Phil Coulson that I'm representing, that I'm in this Marvel group in. And I do also have portray an Oliver Queen. I said an Oliver Queen because it's an Oliver Queen from a different Earth, and his version, he has a daughter called, I forgot his daughter's name, but his daughter is played by one of my friends. Nice person. She actually requested me to portray the Oliver Queen that would be her father, and I accepted because I'm a big Arrowverse fan, and this person is a good friend of mine. She's a sweet girl, and it's an honor when I get requested to play as a character by people on TikTok. And that was like my second character that I was requested to portray as. My first one was Phil Coulson. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know the beginning was kind of but love you guys. Thank you for joining my video. What do you guys think about the Resistance version of Nemo Calrissian? Oh, and by the way, before I end, by the time Nemo gets out of the Resistance, that was apparently part of his Jedi trial, which was letting go of the thing he loved the most, which was the Aces, for the to serve the Force, to serve the greater good, to pretty much follow a Qui-Gon Jinn. And First Ghost Nemo appears. First Ghost Luke Skywalker appears and appoints Nemo Master. And eventually, since Nemo's like the only Jedi left that he's aware of, and Rey does exist in the universe, but she isn't like a full-fledged Jedi per se at this point. She's like, by the time Nemo becomes a master, it's when she's just beginning her training. Like, I should say just beginning, because that implies, okay, Luke does begin her training, but he's more optimistic, and actually is more involved in her training than we saw in the original trilogy. He still dies in this version, but in a better way. And if you guys want me to, I'll explain how I made him go out in a future video. And later on, Luke also appears saying to Luke, pass on what you know. My sister is already starting Rey's Jedi training, or finishing where I left off. But it's ultimately up to you. You know more about the Jedi than Rey does. I need you to take up the mantle of Grand Master. Nemo doesn't want to take up the mantle of Grand Master, but he does it because he realizes that it's necessary. So eventually Nemo Calrissian does become the Jedi Grand Master and preserves the Jedi Order. So yeah. So what do you guys think about this, all of this, of like I said, the Resistance version of Nemo Calrissian, which his story started out in the Resistance AU hashtag, but I made my own hashtag on TikTok called Jedi Wave, so I might title this like Nemo Calrissian, like TikTok OC Nemo Calrissian, then parentheses Aces and slash Jedi Wave, so you guys will know that it's like one version of Nemo Calrissian, because it's like multiple versions of Nemo Calrissian that I made, and this is the version that I call with the most, if that makes sense. So, what do you guys think about this? About my favorite OC in general, Nemo Calrissian, and which so happens to be my favorite version of Nemo, because I feel like out of all my characters, this one has like this version of Nemo is the version I can connect with the most per se. Maybe because I invested the most amount of time in Nemo Calrissian, but let me know what you guys think about Nemo Calrissian. Thank you for joining. Love you all. Have a wonderful day. Kind of one another, and may the force be with us all.